guys, welcome back to the shop. On this episode, we finished the Suburban. As you saw from the intro, obviously, we got her all done. We got the new rims on. We got everything in paint and body, wet sanded, everything put back together. It's looking good. It's looking brand new again. Best part about it is we're not sharing cars anymore. So my wife has her own car to drive, and I don't have to deal with moving my seat back every time she gets in my truck. Why don't you go ahead and follow us on the journey while we get this thing in paint. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below and check out our links in the description. Let's get this thing finished up. Alright, we're getting some wax and grease remover on this, making sure we got it all cleaned up and prepped for paint. Mixing up some silver paint now and getting it dumped in the gun. Doing a couple test shots on the gun and starting to spray the first coat of silver. We'll let that set up for 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, let's spray the second coat on. Paying good attention to make sure we get down in all the wheel wells and all of the hard to spray spots so that we don't have any light spots, or in this case dark spots. Just want to make sure we get good coverage on all the paint. We'll let that one sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And this is the spot where I noticed there was some dust in the door. And I also ran out of paint. Got a little bit more paint mixed up, sprayed the quarter. Made sure I didn't have any weird tiger striping or weird issues with it. Now I'm gonna let that dry and wait and sand out that jam area in the door. So I'll let that sit for about 30 minutes, and now I'm wet sanding any of the little dust spots. I think they came from my rag. I must have left it behind when I was wax and grease removing it. So we're gonna wet sand any of those little bad spots out and get it cleaned up again and ready for paint. Again, just touching up the stuff on the jam and wiping everything down. Spray our last coat of color. Don't forget to grab a beer. Gonna hit one more coat on the door because I sanded that really hard, and then jam. And now we are done. Let's get this gun cleaned up and let this set for a little bit, and we'll be ready to spray some clear coat. Alright guys, here it is. It's back in silver. We've got 3, 3.5, 4 coats depending on the part and how it was looking, but everything's looking pretty good. I had a little bit of an issue with some crap down here that didn't get cleaned out real well, and then again on the door, I'm not sure what it was, but there was some crap riding along there, so I ended up having to wet sand that and clean that up. Respray that, but we're going to let it set up for a little bit longer here, wipe it all back down again, and spray some clear. Hopefully we can keep the bugs out of it. Got the clear coat mixed up here, ready to go, so we'll be ready to start shooting here shortly. Alright, we're getting it wiped down with a tack rag, getting it cleaned up, dumping the clear in, and getting ready to spray our first coat of clear coat. Remember how I said hopefully we keep the bugs out of it? Well, I jinxed myself because the world's largest mosquito landed in my first coat of clear coat. I tried to pick him out and all of his legs and whatever else stuck. So we're going to need to let that dry, wet sand it, but in the meantime we're going to continue clearing everything else. So we'll get our second coat on here, let that set up. Now we'll spray our third coat. couple little bugs and some things in there I wasn't happy with. And spray the final coat for this side. We will let the other side dry. We let it dry and wet sanded the bug out of it, and then had to apply a little bit more paint and then re-clear that side. Now we're getting the rear window cleaned up and getting the window tape on so we can get the window installed. Install's pretty easy, just push it in, good to go. Probably won't show up on camera, but apparently wax and grease remover removes the primer that's put on this, so that's fantastic. Remember that bug that was in here last night, right in this area? Well, when I sprayed a little bit more color on it to cover up where I wet sanded, I kind of blended it down the panel a little bit, and in doing that, there's a really bad spot right here. So this is gonna have to get sanded back down and another coat of paint and clear coat. We're scuffing the driver's side quarter, getting it prepped so that we can respray it again. Alright, let's get a coat of paint on it. First coat of paint. Something happens. We got some lift there, we had a chemical reaction and it lifted the paint. Close-up picture of the lifted paint. So I had a visit from my old friend last night. Lift. Anyways, long story short, something happened, paint lifted, sanded it down, put the primer on, then the primer lifted. Let that dry overnight, sanded everything down, hit it with a coat of sealer, locked everything in. Had some real bad rough spots in here due to the lifting and the peeling effect. So once the sealer was dry, tried to wet sand that out, didn't wet sand out. So I put some more high build primer on it. And that's where we're at. We're getting rid of all those lumps and everything. And hopefully we'll have a nice tight base to spray some color on and get this damn thing painted tonight, because let me tell you, my old lady is up my ass about this.
Don't say old lady.
Sorry, my young lady. Wait, that sounds even creepier. Anyway, my wife is not happy about not having her car. Okay, got this bad boy here, hopefully ready for some paint again after this lift incident. I don't really want to talk about it. I didn't record it because I was saying the F word every 4 seconds. So I decided not to record that, and this is where we're at. That's why I said F word. I need one of my lovely assistants to get me some wax and grease remover. Right there behind me. I could literally reach it, but
That stuff?
yeah.
This stuff?
Yeah.
This stuff?
Yeah. So we're gonna get this, we got it sanded with 400 grit. We're gonna get it wiped out. And what time is it? Does anybody know?
It's 8:30 your time, not
8:30 our time. So we have about 30 minutes to put some more silver on top before our color goes bad and we gotta scuff it and cut it again. So we're gonna get this cleaned up. We're gonna mix up some silver. We're gonna poof this again, spray that again, and try to get rid of any tiger striping or any of the terrible issues that are going on with this. And I'm getting a phone call, so. Alright, should we see how bad we can tiger stripe this?
Please don't.
Alright, we're getting the first coat of the new color on. Second coat of new color. So far so good, no lift issues, just having an issue running out of paint and having the gun not set up quite right. Finish up the second coat here. Pick a bug out of there, start spraying third coat, run out of paint again. We'll mix some more paint up. Up the third coat. Going a little over the top here, just making sure that I didn't miss any spots.
That's fucking golden. We fucking did it.
First coat of clear going on. Second coat of clear, and I know I should have been wearing a respirator, but let's be honest, I had lost it and couldn't find it, so it was just a matter of hurrying up and get it done. Third coat. Alright, let's get the masking tape and plastic ripped off and get this thing looking like a car again. Crazy how much different it looks when it's unmasked. Alright guys, we finally got this quarter looking good, no tiger striping, everything was good. We did have like a bug. Oh wait, that one's still alive. It's not in there. A bug over here. And the gun was doing something weird and all of a sudden it just puked a bunch of shit out right there. And you gotta get in the right light and you can see it. Right there was the right light. You can see those dark spots right there. Ran it by the wife. She said, I don't care, get it done, I need a car. So she's gonna be okay with that. So we'll just pretend like this thing's a little dirty every once in a while. But it looks good now. Everything matches, everything lines up, everything's good on this side. There's no weird tiger stripe issue. So that brings us to the final challenge. And this guy is a rear end out of the Sub 100, the original 04 Suburban rear end. That had a hell of a howl, I guess, and not a grind, but it just had a lot of noise in the rear end. So we bought a new one for that and replaced it. And of course I hoard everything, so I had that behind the garage. So the goal is to pull the axle shaft out of this, because we know the housing isn't bent, it's just the axle shaft. Pull the axle shaft out and see, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that that is the same axle in that rear end. We're going to slide the new axle in and we won't have a wheel that's doing this when we're going on the road. So we're going to tear into that, we're going to pull the axle out, we're going to tear into this, pull the axle out, we're going to compare them, measure them, make sure everything's the same. And if it is, slide the old one in the new one and everything's going to be good. So that's where we're at now. If we get that replaced, this thing's ready to go on the road. Well, that's a little bit of a lie because I don't have any differential fluid, so it will be ready to go as soon as I top off the fluid. So let's get to that. Okay guys, here's the difference between, this is like a 99 to 2006. 07 to 11 axle shaft, passenger side. I mean, you can tell the difference right off the bat. This one is longer, and it's quite a bit girthier. It's a hell of a lot thicker. I didn't measure the bearing size there because first thing I measured was the height, and obviously this one is not going to clip in because it is too short. So that's a bummer. You know, the old junk sub 100 axle was not the cure-all for this bent axle shaft we have, so it's like 240 bucks, but whatever, it is what it is. Try the cheap stuff first. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, whatever. That's why we keep this stuff around, just in case it works. So now we know. I was told by a few people that this would be the exact same axle shaft. It is not. It is way shorter and way less girthy. Boy, those new 5.3s, they must make a god-awful shit ton more torque. Look at the difference on that. That is nothing. Yeah, that's for horsepower, baby. Alright guys, so after pulling this axle out, I realized this bearing is broke back here, and there's some other weird stuff going on, so we're gonna have to get this bearing pulled out and see what's going on. Hopefully nothing's messed up with the housing. So let's get it pulled out. That hot. Alright, so nothing was actually wrong with the bearing or anything, but the kit came with the new bearing, so we might as well replace it. What I thought was the back of the bearing was this little chunk of plastic here that's retaining this piece. It looked like it was the back edge of it, and it wasn't, so that was just me being dumb. So now we can get the new bearing. We're going to want to put some oil in it, pre-lube it if you will, and then get it hammered back in. Alright, we're getting the bearing set in place and getting the seal put on. We want to make sure we pre-lube our seal, and now we're sliding the axle in. Alright, time to climb back under the car and get those C-clips put in. Alright, so now we're getting the C-clip put back in and getting everything put back together in the differential. We got to get the C-clip in, get that pin in, tighten that bolt down, and then we're able to put the case cover back on and top it off with believe. Let's get the brakes put on, pretty straightforward. Get this puppy back on the ground. Alright guys, well we are about to see how the rear end works with the new axle in it, see if it makes that kind of squeaky sound anymore, and take her for the first drive almost all put back together. I still need to get the running boards on, but that can wait for a few minutes anyway. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for Project Totaled Suburban. We got it all wrapped up. It's back on the road. The wife's driving it right now. And she's happy to have a car again, and so am I. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be doing a cost breakdown of how much it cost to buy it back from the insurance company, how much we got paid for it being totaled from the insurance company, and then what all the parts cost and how we came out. So stay tuned for that one, and we'll check you later.